A pleasant afternoon, everyone, especially to the panels and to my fellow researchers. We are going to discuss about the level of awareness of grade 12 students towards teenage pregnancy at Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy. Hello there, and we are the group 3. I am Julian Bautista, the group leader of this research defense, going along with my fellow group mates Enzedhun Kima Lazarte, Derek Kane Go, Jarian La Rosa, and Glenn Louis Abellana, and we researchers are from the grade 12 section Grace. Starting with the chapter 1 introduction. Rationale. Teenage pregnancy has become overpopulated and devastated the lives of young women. Among high school students, there are numerous percentage of getting pregnant every year. Having to balance motherhood and education simultaneously appears to be an overwhelming experience for teenage mothers. As a result, irregular school attendance and poor school performance during and after pregnancy often lead to girls dropping out of school. Adolescent pregnancy is an issue with significant societal impact worldwide. Around 16 million girls aged 15 to 19 years old give birth every year. Teenage pregnancy is one of the main issues that every country is facing. The study attempted to determine the level of awareness on the impacts of teenage pregnancy in terms of physical, emotional, social, and economic. The study has provided an avenue to assess the students' level of awareness on the impact of teenage pregnancy. To ensure that the topic of teenage pregnancy will be understood by teenagers, the researchers recommended that their study used as a guide to other students to be more aware on the impact of teenage pregnancy. In addition, considering that the topic is a sensitive issue, which is a very alarming situation, it is also recommended that sex education to be given to teenage students yearly in order for them to have a deeper understanding on the consequences brought about by the teenage pregnancy. This study aims to give awareness among teenagers who are unprepared with early pregnancies, specifically for those who are at the young age with relationship status, for them to be aware of their safety as a student that requires information to be enlightened and to be aware of these circumstances. Is giving awareness can assist to prevent the grade 12 students to pause from occurring teenage pregnancy situation? This study aims to have an urgency. That is why research is compelled to conduct a study for the grade 12 researchers and other individuals that relates in this study.
Research objectives. This research entitled The Level of Awareness of Grade 12 Students Towards Teenage Pregnancy at Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy aims to determine how broad do the grade 12 students at Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy knows about teenage pregnancy. Specifically, this study seeks to A. Determine the psychodemographic profiles of the grade 12 students at Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy in terms of sex and year level. B. To determine the level of awareness of grade 12 students at Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy in terms of teenage pregnancy. C. To identify the significant relationship between psychodemographic profile of grade 12 students at Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy and their awareness towards teenage pregnancy.
Hypothesis. This study aims to achieve the three objectives which each corresponding hypothesis tackling about the effect and the independent variable to the dependent variable. First is the alternative. There is significance which indicates that there is differences between junior high school or senior high school in different grade level in related to their pregnancy risk as accepted. There is significance that the school Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy conduct a training or an education about safe sex. Null. Second is the null. There is no significance regarding how dislike of Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy might increase risk of teenage pregnancy. There is no significance that the Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy will not teach or to have submit that it's related to sex because it is private school that they don't promote premarital sex.
This section presents the related literature exposing the levels and numbers of young women undergoing teenage pregnancy. It represents the titles that give information to to develop more understanding of dealing teenage pregnancy in any of the young ages. This section tells the abilities and possibilities of performances that could possibly be the reason and the results. That also show some details that having an early birth sacrifices characteristics and awareness. Socio-demographic characteristics of the abilities. Researchers have posited that socio-demographic characteristics may impact adherence by influencing an individual's ability to acquire knowledge, communicate effectively with the healthcare providers, and to obtain effectively social support around their diagnosis. Previous research has indicated that adherence is influenced by a number of issues, including side effects, cost of medications, dosing frequency, and routes of administration. Other factors include patient beliefs, demographics, and comorbidities. Effective communication between healthcare professionals should be clear, timely, and discreet. This communication is needed to make accurate diagnoses, ensure that treatments are appropriately provided, and to ensure that patients understand health status and needs. It is important to have effective communication between healthcare providers to protect their patients, save on costs, and increase day-to-day operating efficiency. Meanwhile, patients benefit from increased access to their medical histories, which reduces chances of medical errors. Socio-demographic factors and self-reported functional status, the significance of social support. Social support appears to play a significant role in explaining differences in subjective functioning. People living alone or only with a spouse, particularly the elderly, seem to be in a greater risk for disability problems and should be targeted by preventive programs in the community. It provided by a social network to help individuals cope with stress. Such social support may come in different forms and might involve helping a person with the various daily tasks when they are ill or feeling financial assistance when they are in need. A strong social support network can be critical to help you through the stress of tough times, whether you've had a bad day at work or a year filled with loss or chronic illness. And the lack of social support can lead to isolation and loneliness. Teenage pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy and childbearing have been significantly debated in research and society at large, with attitudes towards teenage childbearing seeing it as a negative phenomenon that deprives a teenage mother of a full child experience. Early childbearing may result in poor health outcomes and may be a threat of a country's economic growth. Pregnant adolescents are less likely to complete higher education and have lesser ability to earn more income over the course of their lifetime, causing economic losses to the country. Another study reported that teen mothers face significant levels of stress that can then lead to increased mental health concerns, in addition to a higher rates of postpartum depression. Teenage mothers have higher rates of depression. They also have higher rates of suicidal ideation than their peers who aren't mothers. Teen pregnancy awareness. Teen pregnancy is not unusual as it was, but the impact and changes it causes in young lives remain everlasting. Too young to understand the consequences and responsibilities with becoming a parent. Teenage girls learn the hard way that it is difficult to take care of oneself and a baby. Parents and school plays a big role in educating our youth about safe sex and contraceptives. Having to balance motherhood and education simultaneously appears to be an overwhelming experience for teenage mothers. As a result, irregular school attendance and poor school performance during and after pregnancy often lead to the girls dropping out of school. Consequences of being a teenage parent that being a child of a teenage mother often entails numerous risks: low birth weight, complication of mother pregnancy and delivery, and health problems associated with poor perinatal outcomes. Greater risk of perinatal death, lower IQ and academic achievement later on. Finishing school is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself and for your child. If you finish school, you have a better chance of getting a job later on being able to support your family. Studying can also help you stay connected with friends and other people who can support you, like teachers and school counselors.
For the conceptual framework, the independent variable is a social demographic profile of sex and grade level, and for the dependent variable, level of awareness of teenage pregnancy. The independent variable, which is the socio-demographic profiles of the senior high students at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy, specifically their sex and year level, is the basis of the status of the level of teenage pregnancy of the senior high school students, which is the dependent variable, into wherein the researchers will correlate if there is a significant relationship between the two variables. In the relation to this, according to R.W. Blum et al. 2014, adolescence is frequently divided into three stages: early, middle, and late. The ages from 10 to 14 years old, referred to here as early adolescence, are marked by dramatical physical, cognitive, and social changes. However, researchers view it as among the most neglected periods of life. Across these 5 years, a young person physically develops, progressing from a pubescent youngster with childlike features to someone with an adult appearance. So too, this period is marked by social and cognitive shifts that set the stage for lifelong capacities and aspirations. Social relationships often expand beyond the family unit to include more peer group influences, and young people begin to acquire behaviors that have a profound impact on their later life. In many societies, these years encompass a major educational shift from primary to secondary school, or conversely, to early living, employment in the formal or informal sectors, and perhaps early marriage. In this paper, we propose a conceptual framework that is intended to guide future researchers, policy, and programming for young people as they make the transition into adolescence.
In theoretical framework, researcher Hieronymus in 1991 had been arguing that teenage pregnancy is considerable, and Keplinger in 1999 believed that teenage pregnancy most likely to lead important wage losses later in life, and a reason that childbearing at an early age affects the educational attainment for the sake of the responsibility. And at the other hand, Hieronymus in 1991 suggests that child who are born early are more likely to be healthy, and if grandparents are still in their life, presumably the child will be healthier and more energetic, meaning they'll receive more care and attention. Now, Fishbein and Ajin developed a reason-action theory, meaning it is a theory that study an event and the expected result for a reason. So it is like a game of possibility, but the favor is in the expected result. This includes the separation of behavioral intention and behavior. For example, Ivan wants to use the computer, but the whole town has been undergoing some sort of blackout. In the fact that Ivan's behavioral intent wants to use the computer, but he cannot. The expected behavior now is that Ivan cannot use the computer, and that is the theory reason action. Teenagers, specifically grade 12, transitioning to the role of mother as a teenager is not quite as off time as it would be for a non-disadvantaged teenager, due to the fact that disadvantaged teenager may not have the opportunity to pursue the same educational and career trajectories that others will follow later in life.
The significance of this study is to assess the awareness of learners about the prevention of teenage pregnancy from the students' environmental growth. The study intended to find out whether teenagers are aware of the different pregnancy preventative measures. This study was beneficial for the youth, students, parents, and upcoming teenagers to explore in depth the impact teen pregnancy has on education attainment for girls 17 to 19 years old of age across racial or ethnicity and for its socio-economic status. This will also help future researchers for further research purposes. First is youth. Youth could have an advantage for this study in order for them to fully understand their own situation of having early pregnancy and for them to be able to cope up with the awareness and the happenings around them. Next is the students. This study will be beneficial with students to understood according to the impacts and prevention with this struggle. It is a great possibility to make them be enlightened of controlling their sexuality against pregnancy. Next is parents. Parents could also refer to this study to make them apprehensive towards the negative outcome of dealing early pregnancies with their girls and not be able to carry all the heaviness. Next is upcoming teenagers. Upcoming teenagers could learn about the study in order for them to recognize and realize the situation of the youth today and for them to find ways on how to help themselves with this. Again, next is environmental growth. Environmental growth could use this study as a guide for the environment to have sense with numerous percentage of this problem that ruining its growth. Lastly is the future researchers. This study could also be helpful to the future researchers to refer to the given data regarding the issues of the awareness for the senior high school students. Next is the definition of terms. The following terms are defined in context to have a better understanding of the paper. The terms are as follows. First is adolescent. This term in the study means that the individual whom to make the problem occur in the earliest situation in which destroy the file as a student and the future of this environment. Adolescent. This term in the study means that the individual whom to make the problem occur in the earliest situation in which destroy the file as a student and the future of its environment. Next is pregnancy. This term classifies as the main reason how the study started that includes the impacts of dealing circumstances with improper preparedness. Next is education. This term means a process that facilitates learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and costumes. Next is generation. This term means all the people born and living at around the same time, considered together facing difficulties of high percentage of pregnancy issues growing weekly. Next is population. This term refers to the improper numerous level of percentage of people's population growing without limitations. Next is youth. Youth, according to Republic Act 8044, provides that the youth are those who are 15 to 30 years old of age that could possibly face pregnancy at a young age. Lastly is parenthood. Parenthood, this term defines that the state of being a parent is parenthood. This term defines that the state of being a parent and the responsibilities involved without any preparedness of dealing this early without enough acknowledgments.
Now let's move to Chapter 2, Methodology.
The research design is the step-by-step process of conducting the study. It contains the organization of the data that will be collected, including the different methods that will be used in conducting the study. This research involves collection of numerical data. It deduces a relationship between theory and research. Researchers uses scientific and empirical approach to solve the problems. To solve the problem under the study of the researcher formulating a hypothesis. The researcher then decides about the study designed to accomplish his or her research. The study design should outline the data collection, sample size, research local, statistical tool, and population in sample. The research aiming at discovering how many people think, act, or feel in a specific way. The standard format in for each respondent to be asked the same questions, which ensures that the entire data sample can be analyzed fairly. The data is supplied in a numerical format and can be analyzed in a quantifiable way using statistical methods. Surveys can, however, be tailored to the branch off if the respondent answers in a certain way. For instances, people who are satisfied or dissatisfied with a survey may be asked different questions subsequently. Possible surveys can be done with online access.
In the research locale, the researchers will be conducting the research in Mati City, Davao Oriental, particularly at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy. This school is situated at the Quezon Street, Mati, Davao Oriental. The left picture shows the map of some part of the Mindanao. The right picture shows the map of the city of Mati. And the point of the arrow is the area of 4 Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy. Population and sample. This study will be conducted at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy Senior High School, City of Mati. The school was purposefully chosen because more and more senior high school students specifically are getting pregnant. Researchers are being concerned of the teenagers who got pregnant in the locality and at a very young age. Researchers are getting information and also gathering data for the reason that the school is developing. The population size of the students who got pregnant are getting bigger and bigger throughout the year, with a population size of 94 per 1,000 adolescent girls, and the researchers will have considered a sample of 189 respondents.
Sample procedure. In this sampling means selecting the group that will actually collect data from your research. The group of students of Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy, who are the participants of this study, were asked to complete the study questionnaires. The control group was selected by multi-stage random sampling. The results of the process revealed that grade 12 students of Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy would be the sources for recruitment of control group participants. The research will be selected through purposive sampling among the extreme cases, as well as those with unexpected findings will be interviewed. Research instrument. This is a tool used to collect, measure, and analyze data related to your research interest. This research instrument consisted of 1 questionnaires for pregnant teenagers. The first 3 sections of both questionnaires were identical in consisting of Part 1, General Information, Part 2, Information about Family, and Part 3, Information about Life Assets. Part 3 of the questionnaire was based on the Life Asset Questionnaire developed by a group. Part 4 of the questionnaire was different between groups. Both research questionnaires were checked and adjusted by 4 qualified experts for content validity to ensure that all aspects of both instruments were suitably designed for the population being studied.
Data collection. The steps that will be used on how the researchers obtain the information that they will answer the research objectives, check the hypothesis, and assess the unexpected outcomes are referred to as data collection. The research will seek permission to use the equipment to which they have designed their research. The researchers will also request permission to obtain population statistics from Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy senior high school student from whence the sample will be drawn. In addition, they will be seek authorization from the school official to undertake the research. Because of the current pandemic situation, the questionnaire will be formed to the Google documents that will be distributed to the chosen samples by email or social media accounts with approval from participants and the school official. On the same day, the questions will be retrieved via email or social media access to ensure that the survey questionnaires are returned in timely basis for the data analysis.
Statistical tools. Number 1. Means and standard deviation is the sum of the values of the other data. It is used to measure the center of the numerical data. We use that mean and standard deviation to determine how the IMA senior high students were affected in terms of their awareness against teenage pregnancy. By that set of questions given, the mean become the basis of the legend provided the how students were affected. Number 2. Frequency. A frequency is used in order to correctly represent the sets of data given in numeric way. The frequency was used in order to represent the counts of the female students as well as the number of how many IMA senior high students answered the survey, specifically the grade 12 of UMS, ABM, and STEM. Number 3. Pearson correlation. It is a test statistic that determines the statistical relationship or connection between two continuous variables. It shows extent of the association or correlation as well as the relationship course. We use the Pearson correlation to determine the significant relationship between the psychodemographic of profile of the IMA Senior High School students in terms of their level of awareness with adolescent pregnancy in their year level.
This will be the end of our research defense with a research title of The Level of Awareness of Grade 12 Students Towards Teenage Pregnancy at Immaculate Heart of Mary Academy.